morning, beloveds. I have my fur bear today. She's very clingy. I don't know how much longer she's going to put up with this, but we'll see. So, we went out for the walk this morning, and the sun had come up, and the sunrise was quite beautiful. And I stopped, and I took a picture of the sunrise, and then we walked like maybe 5 minutes, and the clouds took over. So the weather's going to be interesting. It's going to be warm and wet. And then tomorrow is going to be cold and I think clear. So, but that is the nature of Texas weather. If you don't like it, wait 15 minutes. It'll change. So, but it is December 23rd. We are almost finished with the month of light. And I'm going to try and make sure she doesn't show you her best side. No promises. This is life with cats. I belong to a group called Clergy with Cats, and because a lot of the clergy are doing like Zoom worship and online and what have you, and recording services, they've been posting either pictures or funny stories about how their cats have joined in on the worship. So, all right, it is December 23rd. It is a Wednesday. Our title is I am alive, awake, and aware. My spiritual eyes are open. For now, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face, now I know in part. But then shall I know even as also I am known. And that is from 1 Corinthians 13:12. O ye people, earthborn folk, ye who have given yourselves to drunkenness and sleep and ignorance of God, be sober now. Cease from your surfeit. Cease to be glamored by irrational sleep. That's from Hermes. I believe it's from the Kabbalion. If ye knew God as God ought to be known, ye would walk on the seas, and the mountains would move at your call. And this is Kashif al-Mujab. I'm unfamiliar with this one. So it's and it's Kashf space AL-MAHJUB. In case you want to look it up. Okay. For now we see through a glass darkly. How familiar this passage is to all of us. But what does it mean other than that our vision is clouded by a material sense of things? Hermes tells us that we are both drunk and asleep, that we are ignorant of God. Emerson tells us that once in a while we awake from our slumber and look about us to perceive the world of reality, but too soon sink back to sleep again, or sink back again into sleep. And from another ancient text quoted above, we are told that if we knew God as we ought to, we would be able to walk on the seas, that the mountains would come at our call. All progress is an awakening. Every new scientific fact is a discovery. This is also an awakening. It is really true that we are largely asleep, dreaming away the hours. Awake, thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you life. It is indeed high time that we awake from the sleep. No one can awaken us but the self. Let us, then, make every endeavor to arouse the mind to reality, to penetrate the gloom of fear and superstition, to cast aside doubt and uncertainty, to behold the light which is eternal. I awake, I awake, I awake. I am alive, awake, and aware. My spiritual eyes are open. As from a long night's sleep, I awake. And Sugar just launched off me and went running out of the room. Okay. It reminds me of in the Jewish mystic tradition of we call it Kabbalah, but apparently it's pronounced Kibbalah. So there are two, I don't even know what to call them, aspects. I'll call them I'm reluctant to call them powers. Sophia and the demiurge. And basically, it's like the demiurge is middle management. So God created everything, and then the demiurge was kind of put in charge to manage it, but didn't do a good job and made a couple of mistakes. And to manage those mistakes, the demiurge put creation to sleep. And Sophia went, this isn't right. So now there's kind of this tug of war between Sophia, which is wisdom, and the demiurge, where the demiurge is constantly Sophia is going around waking us up, wake up, wake up, wake up, see what's going on, and then you can help us fix it. And the demiurge is constantly going behind Sophia going, go back to sleep, go back to sleep, go back to sleep, there's nothing wrong. And so it's like we're in this kind of, we're not even getting good sleep thanks to the demiurge. It's like we're not quite resting, but we're not awake enough to fix things. And so Sophia's really working, and so we have to help Sophia by resisting the demiurge, resisting that urge to sleep, and waking with Sophia and going and doing the work. So cat. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But I'm alive, awake, and aware. My spiritual eyes are open. So if you haven't guessed, that's probably our mission today. And then that, for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face I now know in part. But then shall I know even as also I am known. And that's from Corinthians. And he says it's like, for now we see through a glass darkly. We are confused by the material. We are divine splinters caught in a material world, and it's hard to see beyond that material world. And then there will come a time when we will shed the material part of us and come face to face, and we'll know more, and we will be known, because we will be, it's like we won't have all this confusing material stuff around us. O ye people, earth-born folk, ye who have given yourselves to drunkenness, sleep, and ignorance of God, be sober now, cease from your surfeit, cease to be glamored by irrational sleep. That's what reminded me of the demiurge and the Sophia. It's like Hermes is going, no, you're drunk on the material, you're asleep in the material, and you can't help it. I mean, this is what our experience is right now. But there's work to do, and we can do it. So, and then the last one, if ye knew God as God ought to be known, ye would walk on the seas, and the mountains would move at your call. Jesus said that, and that's the Christ consciousness. When we are running the Christ consciousness, because I like to think about it like software, when we're running that, there's nothing we can't do. But when we're not running it, life's a little more challenging. Of course, when we're running the software, life's a little more challenging because we see all the work to be done. The good news is we don't have to do all the work. We just have to do our part. Okay, so for now we see through a glass darkly. How familiar this passage is to all of us, but what does it mean other than our vision is clouded by a material sense of things? Which is, yeah. Hermes tells us that we are both drunk and asleep, that we are ignorant of God. And that's what reminded me of the Demiurge and the Sophia. It's like we're drunk on material because that's the experience we're having, and then because we're drunk on the material, we're asleep to our divine nature. Emerson tells us that once in a while we awake from our slumber and look about us to perceive the world of reality, but too soon sink back into sleep. And we can do that for a variety of reasons. Because some people wake up and go, wow, I can't even, and they go back to sleep. And some people wake up and you know, they're overwhelmed, and then, you know, in fact, that's probably the case with a lot of us, is we wake up and we go, oh, I had no idea. I can't deal with this. And we go back to sleep. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we are truly going to make a world that works for everybody, it requires more of us to wake up and do the work. And from another ancient text quoted above, we are told that if we knew God as we ought to, we would be able to walk on the seas and the mountains would come at our call. All these things and more you will do. Jesus said that. But the requirement is love. To love ourselves, to love each other, to love, I'm going to say it this way, the unlovable. We don't have to like them, but we do have to love them. So maybe I should say we have to love the unlikable, because there is nobody who is truly unlovable, because we're all children of God. All progress is an awakening. Every new scientific fact is a discovery. This is also awakening. I'm a comic book geek. Let me preface it with that. If you watch the original Thor movie directed by Kenneth Branagh, one of the things that he said was, he was talking about the difference between science and magic. And he's right. It's like, until we understand the process, science looks like magic. And then when we understand the process, then we call it science. So it's all an awakening. And even when you understand the process, science is still magic. It is really true that we are largely asleep, dreaming away the hours. Awake, thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you life. That's in quotes, probably somewhere in the Bible. And honestly, I wonder if it's in the story of Lazarus. I'm not sure. It is indeed high time that we awaken from this sleep. No one can awaken us but the self. So that's our own responsibility. Everybody's responsibility is to awaken themselves. You can't wake people up. It's just like you can communicate ideas, but you can't force people. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. You can plant seeds, but you can't force them to sprout. So shaking somebody who's not ready to wake up isn't going to do any good. But all you can do is provide the environment in which they can wake up. So it's like, you got somebody in your life that's not awake to a situation, you can bring their attention to it and plant that seed, but they have to wake up. Let us then make every endeavor to rouse the mind to reality, to penetrate the gloom of fear and superstition, to cast aside doubt and uncertainty, to behold the light which is eternal. And that's one of those things about holding space for each other. It's like, in this moment, I am awake. I will hold space for you to wake up. And because I am human, when I am asleep and you are awake, you can hold space for me until I wake up again. And what we do is we just gradually string together the awake points until they're lasting longer. It's like, so I'm sleeping this much and I'm awake this much. Yeah, hang on, let me put the book down. So I'm sleeping this much and I'm awake this much. And my goal is to sleep this much and awake this much. Now, that's not talking about actual sleep because your body needs it. Please get the rest. There are people who can run on 4 hours. I am not one of them. I do much better on 7. I don't need 8, but, please get actual sleep to regenerate the body. I'm talking about consciousness here, so don't misunderstand me. I awake, I awake, I awake. I am alive, awake, and aware. My spiritual eyes are open. As from a long night's sleep, I awake. And I would add on to that we awake refreshed and ready. Because if we've gotten a long night's sleep, we should be refreshed and ready, right? Which today is my last day of work before Christmas. I'm about to have 4 days off. Yay. I'm very excited about that. And after all of this, one of the things that I intend to do is sleep. But I also intend to read and do that, catch up on some stuff that I've been neglecting. So our mission today, I awake, I awake, I awake. My spiritual eyes are open. And it really is to be awake, to be alive, to be aware, to truly live, not just exist. Not to sleepwalk through this world, but to see this world in all of its, and I'm going to use this term, gory glory. Because there's so much beautiful about this world. If you haven't seen the conjunction, it's still happening. They're just drifting apart now. So you can go out and see how close Jupiter and Saturn are together. Scour the social media. People have been posting fantastic pictures. And there was one of my friends posted an astronomy page that had 16 different pictures from around the world. And some of them even told you, okay, I used this lens and this telescope. So, if you want to start doing that, there's information out there to see the beauty of this world. And we need to see the messiness too. We can't fix a mess we don't know about. And it's material. It's all material. But it's still important. Yes, our focus is on the spiritual. But the truth is, on Maslow's ladder, until people's basic needs are met, they can't focus on the spiritual. And there bears some of our responsibility. We are a community. All right, beloveds, I'm going to get that last day of work in, so I'm going to encourage you, as I always do, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like to you. It is the holiday season. Please take care of yourself. And I'm going to get distracted by the cat walking into the room. I am going to tell you that you are a beloved child of Spirit in whom Spirit is well pleased, always and forever. You are loved. The mind that created a star is the mind that created you. And more importantly, the mind that created a star is the mind that you use when you create. So think big, dream big, do big. Do what it is that sets you on fire. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in heaven now. It's all around you. It just takes Sophia to see it. All right, do something to engage your mind and your body today. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your holidays as much as you can. I know the holidays can be a challenge, so take care of yourself. I will be back with you. No, David will be on with you. Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. today. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. Yes, I know it's Christmas Eve, but I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I have a slate of work to do, so I'm going to get up and get that done. And then Christmas Day, we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm excited. I see a nap or 2 or 3 or 4 in my future. All right, beloveds, I gotta go to work. Y'all have a wonderful day.